Hi there, I'm David Bauders with Trade Hounds, and I'm joined today by Thayer. Thayer is the Executive Director of Independent Electrical Contractors Association. Welcome, Thayer.
Thanks, David.
It's great to be here at the IEC National Convention in Dallas, Texas. What are you seeing out there on the floor this year?
Well, I'm seeing an industry that's really thriving. The electrical contracting and systems industry, I think, is one of the best industries to be in, and will be one of the best industries and professions to be in, I think, for a very, very long time. Obviously, there's a lot going on with the electrification of our country, the decarbonization of buildings, and sort of everything in between. And I think you're seeing that vibrancy out at the show.
It's a very exciting time to be in the electrical industry. Can you tell us a little bit about your membership? Who are the members of IEC?
Oh, the members of IEC we have a few kind of categories of membership. Our members on the contracting side are small merit shop or non-union electrical contracting companies, but we have also some very large ones as well. So we run the gauntlet with regards to the size of company. The type of work our members do also runs the gauntlet. I think we focus primarily on commercial and industrial contractors. And then we also have many contractors that do some high-end residential and exclusive residential multifamily. So it's a really wonderful membership.
Are there other categories of membership?
Yeah, we do. We have very important to our industry are the supply chain partners that our electrical contractors do business with. OEMs, distributors, software companies, estimating companies, of course, tool companies, insurance companies. So we have quite a healthy community of partners that help our contractors be successful.
So thinking about the contractors, I know it's been a boom time in the electrical industry. What are the challenges that your members are wrestling with at this moment in time?
Well, the challenge that we're seeing is one around workforce. But that's really what IEC is for our members. We really are a premier workforce development organization that's working exclusively for our members to solve that challenge. I don't think that challenge is going to go away anytime soon, but it's definitely something that we're seeing out there that's having an impact.
Yeah, I think we've seen estimates that by 2030 there'll be a shortfall of about 300,000 electricians across the industry between retirements and just the increasing demand for all the infrastructure work that's being done. What does that mean for a typical IEC contractor? How are they dealing with that problem, and what do you see coming forward?
Well, I think our response up until this point has typically been one of, well, we just need to be able to recruit. And can we out-recruit other industries, other professions? I don't think recruitment, though, is the only answer for us. When you look across the demographics of this country, ever since 2008, the population, the birth rate has been on decline. And so we're actually at a point now where we're at the below replacement rate, if you will, according to the CDC. So recruitment has to continue to be an option, but we're going to continue to have to find ways to help our contractors and help their employees be more productive on the job site. I think we've got to look with our supply chain partners to figure out better, more efficient ways to install. We have to look at automation. And we had a session here talking about AI and really what impact could that have on an industry that's traditionally been very manual. And I think we're going to see some big changes here over the next decade.
I think on both sides of the equation, there's some important opportunities on the productivity side, thinking about prefab and how to shift work out of the job site into a more industrialized environment with repeatability and the efficiencies that come with that. And then in terms of recruiting more talent, I think changing the perception of the trades is super important. Can you talk about, just how important it is to get in a new generation of technicians in an industry that historically has been considered, not the sexiest industry?
No, it hasn't been. We actually launched a new program called the Workforce Development Institute, which is the IEC research arm, and we just launched a study here, or the findings of a study called Understanding the Barriers to Entering the Electrical Trade. Perception is a huge issue, and we've got to find ways to change that. And some of our findings that we discovered, because we interviewed both contractors and prospective employees in the industry, was we've got to demonstrate and show that there's more to just entering the industry and being an electrician. It's a career path to being your own boss, to running your own business, and everything in between. Being a estimator, being a project manager, being a superintendent, being a senior leader in a company. There's a career path in the construction industry, and as an industry, one of the key takeaways and insights was projecting that. And I think that's going to have to be a strategy for us moving forward to bring new people into the industry.
At Trade Hounds, we have over 300,000 technicians, registered users, and we just look out there at the marketplace. It's been about 96% male, heavily skewing white. And we work with a lot of the leading influencers in the electrical industry, folks like Dustin Stelzer, Alexi Breu. These are people who are really connecting with the under 30-year-old group. And I think one of the positive impacts that we're seeing is that we're able to show this as a relatively high-earning profession, and we're able to show it as being, let's say, aspirational in terms of the demographics. How important do you think it is for employers, contractors, to really up their game when it comes to how they portray their company in the marketplace?
Well, I think it's very important. So to that point, we had we have an emerging leader program here at IEC, and this year's emerging leader cohort focused a lot on culture, and it has to do with attracting individuals. Right? It's newer generation. The wage is not really going to be the sole purpose as to why it's not going to be the sole purpose of satisfaction. There's a culture piece. We've got to help our contractors understand the importance of culture, how they're treating and relating to their employees in what has traditionally been a very, as you said, male-dominated, macho industry. We're really talking to our contractors about thinking differently about how they're communicating with their individuals, and that's going to help us with the attracting people into the industry, but also the retaining people into the industry. We have a terrible record across the construction trades of what the turnover is, and that's a missed opportunity for us to take advantage of. People come into the industry and they want to pursue a career, and yet they're leaving at a higher rate than I think is normal. So it's a big opportunity for us to keep more people into our industry.
And that's part of the productivity gap, obviously. Turnover and weeks or months off job, it's just shrinking the workforce that's actually out there.
It's shrinking the workforce. It's delaying projects. It's costing our contractors more money to go out and rehire. So it's a big component, I think, of the future. And you also did talk about the diversity aspect of it, and that is a demographic that the traditional construction industry has missed. I've been very pleased to see that we've had a few female competitors in our Apprentice of the Year competition here. We continue to see that number grow, but we know we can be better, and we need to do better in that regard.
One of the things we try to do at Trade Hounds is to celebrate those stories so that people out there, young women, can see, minorities can see that there is a place for them, and that it's not theoretical, that there are actual folks like themselves where we can start to see, this is a place for me. There's a place for me in the electrical industry.
One of the key findings that we learned also from the study that we just published was there's a huge opportunity for our industry to use the people in our industry. They are our best storytellers, and they are our best. It's kind of the referral network, right? I mean, how do most people like business that they get through referral. We have 100,000 employees that our contractors employ. We need to be tapping into their voice and telling the story about the impact that being in the electrical trade and field has offered them. And I think that's another opportunity for us.
I think, as I understand it, IEC is very much a chapter-driven organization. Can you talk about the structure of chapters and the role that they play in this organization?
Absolutely. IEC National, IEC is a network. We are a federation of over 53 chapters or training facilities around the country. That's where a lot of the magic happens. We're a growing organization as well. We have pretty good coverage in the United States, but there's a few areas that we're growing into. I would encourage anyone that's not affiliated with IEC to go to our website. You can look at our chapter map and engage locally, and that's really where it starts. To be part of IEC is to be active locally with your chapter and reap the benefit of participation and involvement.
So for those of our trade hounds who are out there, these are often either sole practitioners or they may have up to 10 or 20 employees. What are the primary benefits they can look to IEC for, and how can they get involved with IEC?
Well, to get involved, yes, go to our website, ieci.org, and then there's somewhere in the navigation, there's a button to look up a chapter. You can search by zip code. The member benefits are vast, but I think to boil it down to just a handful of the ones that we find are most relevant, the first and foremost is our apprenticeship program. We offer a 4-year registered apprenticeship program through the Department of Labor. We've been doing that for over 50 years. We have the best curriculum and training program in the country. That is the primary reason as to why a lot of our contractors, right? Because again, we can't, we need to add more people into the industry, and all of our contractors realize the best way to do that is, and they believe in training and they believe in bringing new people into the industry. So the apprenticeship program is very, very significant. We also do things at the chapter level where they'll help each other out. Shared manpower agreements, where if you're a contractor and you're running a little bit lean that month, but there's another contractor that might be a little bit slow that month, and so you're able to help each other out. Those are our very, very brokered agreements and everything. That's a huge benefit. We offer things for our members around forum groups. So contractors that are operating non-competing markets can get together and share best practices. And that's really, really important, especially, for all of any size contractor, but especially for the smaller contractors that are sitting there saying, hey, should I be, am I doing my estimating right? Am I running is the percentage of overhead that I'm charging the correct percentage, right? Really, how can I be a successful business owner? We do a lot with advocating for our members, certainly on the merit shop side, advocating for them in front of the state legislatures, in front of the national, Congress, working with various regulatory agencies that impact our industry, whether or not it's the Department of Labor, OSHA. Those are very important relationships that we maintain and we advocate for on behalf of our members.
So I can see there's a lot of value there, and we know there's a very high, let's say, mortality rate in contracting. A fair percentage go out of business within a few years. I think in a lot of cases it's because they don't really understand the ins and outs of the business side of it. As you look forward, what are the biggest business challenges for contractors today?
I think the business challenges will come back down to workforce. I think, are they going to have the workforce to do the work? I think we're seeing right now, because the labor rates are continuing to increase, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but what's happening is you may have contracts or estimates that were done 2 or 3 years ago, and labor rate it's a different labor rate, significantly different labor rate. So that's a challenge. I think we're seeing some strain on just getting projects done by the time they said they were going to get done, and so that puts a strain on our contractors. I think supply chain issues have eased up significantly. I know our industry partners have worked really, really hard on that, but that's not necessarily perfect either. So I think we're going to continue to see challenges and strains there. So I think the challenge is also the opportunity, really, and that is we're going to have more work that our industry can handle. Mm. So it's a challenge and an opportunity, right? So we're just going to have to find a way to figure it out, and that's what contractors do best.
I could see how with the challenges in the decade ahead that there's going to be an important role for IEC helping its members to navigate change. And I want to thank you for taking the time today to chat.
Well, thanks for the opportunity, David.
Thank you.